Classroom management. This is the first of 3 videos talking about classroom management. This video will explore about the first day of class. The second video will look at how to start each class, and the last one will talk about icebreakers. What do you need to know in order to get started the first day of class? As a student teacher, you likely either waited until the regular instructor got the class started, or you came later in the class period. Even though I was there in for example, my own student teaching, I was there at the beginning of class, but I wasn't responsible for starting the class, so I didn't pay attention. And I wasn't there the very first day of class either. While I'm not an expert on classroom management, I want to share a few basic ideas with you in this video series, especially aimed at new ESL or EFL teachers. Did you know that there's a significant amount of research that indicates that the first day of class is the most important one? It's amazing how important first impressions are. I struggled with this early in my career. At first, I wanted to be the fun teacher that everyone liked, but that led to chaos and lack of respect for deadlines or other requirements, and drove me crazy. So then I decided to appear strict in the beginning. But then I didn't like hearing students were afraid of me. What did I settle on? Well, in the end, I went with emphasizing structure, procedures, and rules the first day, while also telling some story about myself to give background and make me appear as a person to them. Here are some more suggestions for you. First, in big script, typing or handwriting, somewhere in the front of your room, likely the whiteboard, write your full name, the room number, the class name, the class section or course number, if there is one, and a greeting. Then, if possible, post a printed version of that next to the door outside the room. There's so much confusion the first day that anything the teacher can do to alleviate some anxiety is worth doing. When I teach graduate students, I'm amazed at how often students have to leave a few minutes into the first class because they were in the wrong room. That is partly my mistake as well as theirs. And it proves it can happen to anyone at any age. It's also a good idea to greet the students individually at the door the first day. This is one way of taking care of what students' number one anxiety is the first day of school, which is getting to the right class. Second, write out a little biography about yourself and share it with the students that first day. You don't have to read it to them, but by writing it out beforehand, you are unlikely to forget important information during the nervousness of the first day. Include some of your professional qualifications, like what you know about the subject and how long you have been teaching the subject or teaching in general. If you're a new teacher, emphasize details about the degrees and or certificates that you have, as opposed to how long you've been teaching. Also, share some background information about yourself that you feel comfortable sharing, like where you're from originally, how many are in your family, what type of work you do if you have more than one job or teaching assignment, and maybe a hobby of yours. Always end your opening introduction with how excited you are to start a new class. Let them know that you expect them to learn and have fun at the same time. If you expect everyone to pass the class or reach another level, then let them know that. But don't tell them the opposite if you don't expect everyone to pass. That actually leads me to the third point. On the first day of school and regularly throughout the semester, share positive expectations with the students. Lots of research shows that the teacher's attitude toward the class, about the assignments and about the students, has the greatest impact on learning success. Please understand that the same research indicates that the quality of textbooks or lessons is not nearly as important as the teacher's attitude. Research also shows that positive encouragement from the instructor has more relationship to learner success than the student's IQ. I've always wanted my class to be one that challenged them to give their very best while enjoying themselves. It wasn't until recently, though, that I realized it was important to communicate that to the students and not just keep it to myself. Fourth, share the educational plan for the class. In college classes, this usually involves going over the syllabus together. Maybe for younger students, it means walking through the textbook. Or maybe you create a PowerPoint presentation showing key learning standards, in student-friendly language, of course, that will be accomplished during the class. This type of PowerPoint presentation is now being recommended for college classes also. Lastly, communicate key rules and procedures. Rules should be limited to 5 or less, and learners should know what the consequences are of meeting the rules or of breaking the rules. Keep the rules posted in the class or in the syllabus. Procedures are really sets of instruction for basic aspects of class. For example, it's a good idea to have procedures for entering the class, for leaving the class when it's time to go, for quieting the class, and for asking questions. If someone doesn't follow a procedure, they don't get penalized. Instead, they're required to repeat the process in the correct manner, or it gets retaught to the whole class. Don't forget to praise students who correctly follow the procedures. In summary, the first day of class will impact the rest of the semester. Be sure you have key information written on the whiteboard and outside the door. Write out a script for what you want to tell your class. Share high expectations for every learner as well as for yourself. Introduce the educational plan for the entire semester, and detail important rules and procedures. So, we've talked about the first day of class. The next video in this series will look at how to start each class every period.